Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rabbit Hole podcast. Today, we're diving deep into the mind of one of Perth's most influential entrepreneurs and fashion visionaries, Edward Maradona. Edward is the founder of the iconic clothing brand Cabinet Noir, a name that's become synonymous with luxury streetwear, creativity, and culture here in Western Australia and far beyond. But he didn't stop there. Edward has also recently launched Cabinet Noir Cafe, blending high-end fashion with world-class coffee and food experiences. I'm genuinely excited for this conversation because Ed represents the perfect mix of fashion genius, entrepreneurial hustle, and cultural impact. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Ed, thanks for coming in today, mate. I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. What I like to do with every episode is kind of give the listeners a bit of an understanding of how we met, how we know each other, and what brings you into the studio today?
I'm just seeing a lot of content, and then when you drop me a message, I'm like, oh hell yeah, you know what I mean? And I feel like your content's great, and I don't do a lot of podcasts anymore, but you know what I mean? Can you jump back into it, share a little bit of stories, because we've done a lot of things this year, so it'll be great to kind of like dive back into the world of Cabinet Noir.
For sure. And I mean, look, it's honestly an honor to have you here. What I really want to kind of draw back on your experience is let's start from the very beginning. Where did your passion for fashion, where did the fashion and entrepreneurial spirit mix in? And let's start from the beginning, mate.
Well, the beginning of my journey to fashion was kind of like an accident. So when I was 18, working at Foot Locker. That was my first real job in retail. Everyone's dream at Foot Locker was one day we're going to have our own store. And that's kind of like the conversation between all the staff. And one day I'm going to have my own shop. I want to have my own sneaker store. Everyone's dream, Only a few of us managed to do that. So for me, and then back then I was a semi-professional breakdancer, b-boy. So that was like my passion. And I was semi-professional for a while. I was competing all around the world. And that's how I got into fashion, because as a b-boy, you have to your outfit means a lot. Do you know what I mean? So we dress from the bottom up. So meaning we dress from the sneakers, and you get up and make sure you always dress fresh. And that was kind of like, I think, we got to dress fresh. We're going out, we got to dress fresh. And that's kind of like my passion and my obsession with sneakers came from working at Foot Locker and being a breakdancer b-boy. And then later on down the track, when I was 28, have an opportunity to buy a house or start a business. If I buy a house I'm just going to work a regular job, and it could be fun, but it's not really anything that I wanted to do in the long run. Like having a shop was my dream. So then I decided to open a shop with zero experience besides having to work in retail stores before. That was kind of a big dive into it. I put all my money into basically opening the shop. And the first shop was at Shafter Lane in 2013. That's when we opened our first store.
I remember it well. I'll share this with you. And I haven't told too many people about this, but we're on a year 12 camp, right? And I remember it was year 11. We're on a year 11 camp, which concluded in our river cruise. So me and the boys and our whole school year went up to the city. And we stayed in hotels, and it was awesome. It was like a staycation, and we're all sort of 17-year-olds, and we're in a hotel that's, paid for by the school, and we're in groups of 4 or 5 in hotel rooms. It was amazing. And we had this free set time where we went into the city, and that's when Cabinet was reasonably new. It was 2014. So you guys were there for about a year, and we all had a bit of money saved up from our little jobs when we were, 17, 18. And I remember going in and seeing the store, and I think we crossed paths then, and I think it was around my birthday, and I spent all my birthday money in there. So there you go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, there you
for
go.
your early support.
Absolutely. And I just remember the clothing being so incredibly diverse, but then also at the same time, very cutting edge and innovative. So you got some brands in quite early on that really resonated with me, and I loved the quality of the clothing. It was definitely a different market that probably us Perth locals weren't used to. And huge credit to yourself and your entrepreneurial
that was our key, right? Because back then, what I was seeing tired of, and people were like, man, Perth got nothing. Perth is shit. This is the everyday today thing. People always bag about Perth, and I love Perth. This is became my hometown when I moved here when I was 10. This is my hometown now. I'm so proud of to grow up in Perth, and this is where I feel like I'm going to retire, and I'm still living here. I'm still going to retire here. And I feel for me, traveling around the world, I'm like, why can't we have these type of shops here? going to Japan, New York, Paris. And why can't we have these type of shops in Perth? Do you know what I mean? So that's part of the reason why having that platform of the shop really forced me to start traveling to Fashion Week, bringing all these rare brands, going to Japan, meeting designers, brands, and like trying to bring them over here, learning how to get brands over here. I'm like, how do I stock a brand? Do you know what I mean? And meeting people in industry, learning a lot from it. And there was no blueprint about how to start a shop like this. You know what I mean? Like back then, even now, it's super hard to get into. You can open a shop, but to be able to get into luxury fashion or designer fashion, it's a different blueprint. And no one teaches you that unless you're in the industry already. For me, the way I work with the brands is kind of like how the same concept of fine dining Michelin star restaurant. You know, I go to markets, being Paris Fashion Week is our market. You know, when you look at the brands being like looking for the freshest produce, and that's how I see the brands and the products. I'm like, oh, this is fresh. Oh, we don't have this in Australia. Let's bring it down. And that's how we meet with designers and brands and negotiate. Hey, we're a small store in Perth. Can we stock your brand? And that's how we've been doing for the last 12 years. And now we have a reputation of having the most exclusive brands in the world, to a point where our blueprint became copied by a lot of shops in Australia. You know, we see a lot of Cabinet Noir replicas and Wombies. So, you know, 12 years on and we're still here. And I think that's the most important thing, having people like you kind of like have that memories built in. And, you know, like now we're on version 3 now. Our third store just opened up recently in Karrinyup Shopping Centre. So now Cabinet Noir 3.0 is, you know, it's a new concept from the number 2 and the number 1. So we like to keep evolving in fashion, especially now where fashion is so quick.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, it's a real baptism by fire. And I want to kind of dig deeper into, how do you build relationships with these key niche, high luxury brands? I understand that you go to, I love that analogy as well of you talking about it like a fresh food market, right? And seeing what's fresh and what's different and what you could provide to the Australian market that isn't or haven't been used to that in the past. And that's why I think Cabinet Noir like really hit and had such early success too, is because we just weren't used to these amazing brands being stocked in our city. And I love how you said, well, why can't Perth have
it's
these?
like, you know, for me, it's like, you know, for me, I remember the first time I had like Wagyu steak. You know, it's like, whoa, it just exploded in your mouth. Like, what is this? I've only seen it on TV and like, I never knew what it tasted until you start tasting the grade A, whatever it is, A5 Wagyu.
Yeah.
That's when you understand how good the quality is. Same thing with clothes. But we're so used to like fast fashion where people like in Australia, especially like anything over $70 for a t-shirt is considered too much, right? So we sell a t-shirt for like our own product is $160. For a lot of people, that's a lot. But then when they try it, they feel it, they go, oh my God, I've never had this kind of cotton before. This is a nice heavyweight, the shape's good, and they straight away feel good about wearing it.
Couldn't agree more. Like, I mean, you know, I'm repping this fresh cap
You got the
top,
new knit tee that I see.
and I tell you what, I feel like I finally hit 6 foot, because it makes me feel so, like the material feels so good on the skin, and the quality you can just feel by wearing it. So, I mean, clearly you put a lot of hard work in your designs and the materials that you use, and you don't take it lightly, because you are charging, you know, a price that is considered, you know, a premium price. However, you're providing a product that matches the price tag, and that's the most important thing in a lot of things. And that's probably the best way I can describe Cabinet Noir off the top of my head is, yes, you do pay good coin, and you know, you work hard for your money, but at the end of the day, the product that you're getting far exceeds the money you're paying.
Man, either you like fast food or fine dining. Again, I like going back to like gastronomy analogy. For me, I love food, right? So I look at products like food, and we look at brands like the head chef, the chef of the menu. You know what I mean? Like the different brands have different head chef or different designers, and by having these sort of different brands, we're offering it to different type of people. And I look at my customers like an avatar, like a character. For example, certain people come through the door and they only wear a certain thing. I only wear a tighter shirt, no logo. All right, these are an avatar, a character, right? And then I get someone who's more into streetwear, everything's oversized, big logos. All right, there's another character now. So when I go out to these markets, I'm trying to get all the brands that would suitable for these characters that I've already envisioned in my head, who my demographics are. Again, like food, like who eats chicken? I eat vegan, or he eats meat only. These are the type of people that I have to kind of characterize in my head when I do my buying. So when I bring these brands in, it has to make sense with our demographic, with our different diverse type of people coming through.
I love that analogy. I feel like it's so relatable. And I mean, no doubt it's set you up in good stead long term from a business perspective, is understanding the demographic that walk through your doors and shop online. And we'll get to that as well.
Yeah, 100%.
You do have quite a bit of a online sort of store as well. That's incredible. And I'd be very interested to dig deeper in the sense of the data that you collect that you're able to see from your online shoppers too, right? Because I mean, that's essentially a store in the sky. I mean, that's the way I look at online shopping now is to
Online
have
is
that.
so much harder. To me, like online store itself is a crypt, right? Sometimes I still don't know how to figure it out. I'm like, sometimes some weeks I'm killing it. Some weeks I'm like, what the hell is happening? So online is an interesting one. It's still like, there's people killing it in the online e-commerce world. For us, we're slowly, steadily getting to that level now. I understand, but it's still like a lot to unravel. Like AI is now getting involved. You know what I mean? And the meta ads are really, really hard to kind of crack. There's like little tricks and, little loopholes that you can get through with the meta advertising, which is crazy. Your marketing strategy have to change week to week. But yeah, like, for us, it's an ongoing journey in this fashion world. And then what I like seeing is like, how we've been here for 12 years and we're still pivoting. And retail it's been quite tricky. We see like people like, luxury is tricky right now. The way it's worked with, luxury goods are dropping down in terms of sale. You look at Gucci sales drop down, LVMH sales drop down. So for us, we have to pivot as well. So luxury has to be accessible now. We can't just keep selling these luxury goods that are so expensive. It doesn't make sense anymore because some of the goods that you see in the luxury brands are selling, the pricing is ridiculous. Back in 2015, yeah, like people can spend it and they have money to spend and they don't mind spending $800 on a t-shirt. But now $800 t-shirt, that's ridiculous. For me, I'm like, I can't sell that. I'm not going to sell that to my customers. So I always ask the brand, hey, what's your price point? No, that's not the brand for me. It has to make sense also being in our store.
Of course. And I mean, that's understanding your demographic as an entrepreneur and a businessman yourself, right? Moving on from there, mate, I've always said this from the very beginning of when you started up Cabinet is like, it just feels a little bit different. And maybe that's because it is in fact different to what us Perth locals and people that grew up in Perth have ever experienced. Where did the real story behind it? I want to understand the concept of how you first come about designing and creating Cabinet Noir from the ground up. Was it that perceived lack of Perth doesn't actually have something like this and you thought, well, instead of being part of the problem, you're going to be part of the solution and give us what we've been missing out this entire time?
Yeah, 100%. Like for me, it's like through my travels, a lot of people in fashion know their brands and their stores really well. And back then there was a store called Colette in Paris that really kind of blew my mind out of everyone else, what they're doing. Like Colette recently closed down. When I say recently, probably like early 2008, she got out of there really quickly. And she was like one of my first kind of not like role model, but like I really look up to her business and what she's done for fashion industry. And what Colette's done differently is she's single-handedly the most powerful buyer or like store owner in the world. I've never seen anything like that before, where she would literally go to like luxury brand showroom and she'd only pick 4 or 5 things out of that collection, which makes no sense because usually a lot of brands would reinforce you to buy minimum order. For example, Rick Owens would be like, all right, if you want to place order with us, you have to minimum order is 10,000 euro per collection. And then if you want to buy Off-White, 30,000 euro per collection, right? But Sarah Colette is the only one to be like, no, I'm only buying 4 pieces from this collection, which is like probably like less than 1,000 euro. But she can do that because she's so powerful.
Yeah, okay.
She can get Prada for like less than the minimum order. Do you know what I mean? This is how powerful, what she's building a business is insane. Like the first time I went to the store blew my mind. First of all, it's in the most expensive street in the world, Rue Saint-Honoré in Paris. It's like literally, sorry?
Is that on the Champs- Élysées?
Close to Champs-Élysées, but there's a street with all the designer brands called Rue Saint-Honoré. Like, in front of it's Balenciaga store, YSL, Prada, everyone was on that street.
And she's got her own.
She's got the big, 2-story, 3-story high store downstairs the cafe. And the cafe is so popular that Coca-Cola was like, look, you can have all my products for free. So basically she doesn't have to pay for anything for stock. They just want to be in her store, right? That's how insane it is. And you have book signing every fashion week we go there to see who's appearing. Like, oh, there's Virgil doing book signing at Colette, or so-and-so doing meet and greet there. It's just so amazing. Like every time during fashion, we always go there to kind of check out what's happening.
When you go to Paris together.
Man, it's insane. Yeah, you have to. During fashion week, it's insane, especially in June. Amazing.
And did you find that going to betting on yourself and heading to Paris and no doubt,
Let me tell you about my first experience in Paris, like a kid, right? I'm like, I had no reason to go to Paris until fashion week, right?
Perfect.
Now, the reason why I decided going to Paris was because I hit like a roadblock where all these brands are getting blocked by competitor store. They didn't want us to carry the same brand. So I was getting blocked. So for me, in order to go around it or to keep progressing, is start going to Paris. I was already doing Japan at the time. Start bringing all the Japanese brands.
So you'd already built network in Japan?
I've already built a little bit of network in Japan.
Okay.
So I have like some brands from Japan already. But I remember just emailing at the time, there was a brand I really wanted called Comme des Garçons. I've got a tattoo on my legs. One of my favorite brands, Ray Kawakubo, is the god designer ever lived, right? So I emailed Comme des Garçons, hey, I would love to stock your brand, da da da. And then a week later, boom, got an email. Hey, Edward, would love you to come to our showroom in Paris. Da da da. Would you be able to make it? Awesome. And I didn't think, like, it was like a big deal for me. All right, from there, like that was my only one meeting in Paris. I didn't know how to do Fashion Week back then. I just literally like, how do we even crack into the industry? How do I do Paris Fashion Week? Then going to the showroom just blew my mind. I remember having my iPad. I had my presentation ready. I didn't know how it works in Paris Fashion Week. I didn't know you go to showroom and you do the buying there. Well, most people don't know what buying means. It's like literally a lot of buyers, store owners, business owners, they fly to Paris twice a year or 4 times a year if you're doing men's and women's. And you go to the showroom, different showrooms from the brands, and they have the samples ready for the next season collection. And you pick the stuff that you like and you place the order there, or you place it when you back home writing an email with an order form and so on. And that's how you place an order. But I didn't know how that's how you do it. So I was like, so I showed my presentation and they're like, okay, go ahead. And I didn't know what I had to do. I'm like, okay, go ahead. What? I can buy now? Do I have an account now? Does it mean like I can buy Comme des Garçons now? All these questions, but I had to fake it, right? Because it was my first time in Paris. Oh, yeah, sure. I'm like, and I didn't know that was like my order. I had to place an order. But now, like, I'm a seasoned veteran now. I'm really good at buying now. But back then, it was just like, I'm literally looking around products and I'm just like trying to figure out how it works. And I see all the buyers there writing down and, taking photos of the product and, trying to learn from observing.
In a candy store stuff, right?
Yeah, well, I was just nervous. I was just didn't want to fuck up, you know what I mean? So from there, I was literally, now I'm in Paris. I'm like, oh, what else do I do? Oh, what other showrooms can I check out? And then I literally guerrilla going through like showroom. Hi, my name is Edward. I have a shop in Australia, in Perth. And that's how I got brands like Undercover. I got brands like, it opens up to a lot of doors like Off-White. But the first door open was Comme des Garçons. And that was my first experience. And now I'm like gone back, every season I kind of know everyone in the industry. The industry is very, very small. Everyone moves around. Like people who used to work at Dior now working at, say, Jacquemus. People who work at Jacquemus now work at da-da-da. So everyone knows everyone. And we build reputation from going back there for like back and forth for like 10 years. So they're now regarded as top 10 top boutiques in the world. Like right now in Australia, we're probably like the top one that they would approach for luxury brands. They will be the first one to they hit up, hey, Edward, would love to be in your store. Because there's not a lot of players coming out of Australia. I mean, there was Harold's and then us. And we were one of the first buyers to start traveling to Paris for the last 10, 15 years. And now everyone goes to Paris because they have to. Yeah, and they're just following our move, because it's Cabinet Noir going to Paris. We have to go to Paris too. But back then it wasn't written rules, but now like everyone's following, so you have to go to Paris.
And there's also something about building like relationships face to face, right? Like being
100%.
able to meet them in person, build that human connection, and then also see the clothing in real life. I mean, that's got to hit different.
It's the tactile, like for fashion, it's hard to shop online. You really have to touch the product, feel it, and appreciate it. Again, going back to food, you can look at the food all day, but you can't taste it.
And that's the thing, right? And that's the challenge of online shopping, especially when you're spending good coin. Like, you want to know how it fits. You want to know how it feels on the skin. And for you to be able to create those relationships internationally in Paris, in Tokyo, it just goes to show.
And where I do most of my networking is through the parties.
Yeah.
And this is where I learned like how to party, man, how important partying is in fashion.
I love this.
You build business through partying because you'd be like, I remember going to this cafe called Cafe Charlot in Paris. It's the very famous cafe in the corner where all the buyers, all the famous models and designers have food and drinks and stuff like that.
During Fashion Week?
During Fashion Week, only. During Fashion Week. And they bump up the price 30% every Fashion Week too.
Smart.
Because they have two menus. Menu not Fashion Week, menu during Fashion Week.
Smart.
So I'm just like, glass of Coke usually like €4, but during Fashion Week it's like €7 or €8 or whatever.
Business owners, entrepreneurs too.
Right. And I remember going there and I was just ordering. I love tequila. I've got a tattoo on my arm. Right? I love tequila. It's my drink. I remember having tequila shots, and then there was a few tables behind us, just like full of Italians, and then they introduced me to that table, and I was like, look, me being me. All right, let's order shots for everybody. And the cafe ran out of tequila, and I go, sorry, so we ran out of tequila. I'm like, well, can you get it? Or I would go down to the liquor land with a bottle of. We get more tequila. I'm like, boop. And then I gave everyone shots, and I didn't know, but that table was NGG Group, New Guards Group, who owns Off-White, Palm Angels, Marcelo Berlon. And because, you Edward Maradona, you're crazy, you're the one with the tequila. Every season they remember me from partying.
Pretty good investment in the end, isn't it?
Well, I didn't even know. Like, for me, it's like being in Australia, I just want to get everyone, like, you're on every time we have the bar, I have a shot for everybody, that's kind of like an Australian thing.
For sure.
And then from there, like, open up a lot of doors. I'm like, that group, and then suddenly introduced me another group, and then suddenly introduced me another group. And literally every fashion week, I open up like more doors. We party with the whole Alexander Wang for my birthday. They came down. My birthday is from drinking. Oh, you got to come from showroom. Like, you got to come to my birthday. And they all came down. And, this sort of stuff that people don't see. Most business come from like networking, come from like drinking and just networking during fashion week, because literally everyone from around the world fly down for the week.
And Paris is such a vibrant city as well. Do you think that part of your networking success and building relationships like as solid as that is due to making it in a relaxed setting where people are able to enjoy themselves, you're able to be authentically yourself, and they can sense that vibe, right? Because humans are so good at like sensing authenticity. And if you're having fun in Paris and you're a genuinely good person, of course they're going to want to do business with you. Do you think that's 100%.
And
why?
like fashion is very like facade, looks, and status. So most people like go to party, and this is what they do. They have their drink, just stand around, trying to look pretty. Well, I'm like in the middle of the march, like dancing. People like, it's, when you have a good time, it's contagious, right? And they want to be your friend. Oh, where you come to my show, check out my brand. Da-da-da. Literally, most people like so standoffish, like in fashion anyways. That's why we're like, oh, if you're in fashion, you're like, ooh, like that. They make fun of us, like fashion week. But then you meet genuine people who wants to have a good time, and you network. And most of the time, they're just very, very insecure. That's why they put this like facade. I'm like, oh, I gotta pretend I'm cool. I have to like stand like this. I have to dress beautifully and there. Yeah, all that. But, at the end of the day, like if you're cool, if you're down to earth, if you want to have a good time, they'll invite you. Oh man, I want to get to know you. And that's literally 99% of my networking, just through just being out there, just being goofball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And just being you though. The key is being you. Like 100%. You're being you. And of course, like it's such a, when you're just being like living in your authentic skin, it hits differently, mate. And it's a credit to yourself. And it's also, I want to sort of dig deeper in the sense, and this is a message that I'm so passionate about, is you invested in yourself. You believed in yourself, and you bet on yourself to be able to fly to Paris. And, that costs money, and to meet these people and create relationships.
It's an expensive investment for sure.
It is. But then also at the same time, the return on investment, it could be anything, right?
100%.
The sky's the limit. And it's pretty epic.
It's one of those lifestyles that you can't really buy or you can't really experience unless you're in it. I've been really blessed to be able to see like some fashion shows and a lot of fashion every season, and just meeting new people, and you know what I mean, and get to share my stories and like link up with the like-minded people, because not every day they understand what we go through unless you're in the industry. So we talk industry language, right? Like the lingo that we share is, oh my God, it's refreshing that we can talk about this. Just someone else will understand it. Well, people here will like talk about like the industry language. They're like, I don't get what you're talking about, because they can't relate to you. Do you know what I mean? Imagine you're like same thing with, again, going to gastronomy, people in food. Like the chef could talk about chef things with other chefs. You know what I mean? The same thing with us.
Of course. And how are you finding now that like fashion, you've been in the fashion industry for, over a decade, and then opening up a coffee shop? I want to get more into that. Like fashion and coffee might seem like two very different worlds to some. What inspired you to open up the Cabinet Noir Cafe, Cab Express? We're drinking their coffee right now, and I'm not even a massive coffee drinker, and I absolutely slammed this down.
This is you're just trying now is a Guatemalan single origin. So it took us a lot of, tasting tests from all the roasters. And this is, I've always wanted a coffee shop for the longest time, because I'm a big coffee drinker. And in the city, it's really hard to find good coffee. There's probably 2-3 cafes that I've rotated around. So one of my good friends was like, hey, do you want to open a coffee shop? Do you want to like take over my coffee shop? Because he's got an existing coffee shop that's closing, but he's looking for a new operator.
Okay.
So he just like invited me, hey, do you want to take over? Well, cool. Like, seems like fun. So then I'm like, all right, me being ADHD and full of like creative juice, I'm like, I think I can handle, hospitality if I lay down the basics, what I know in retail. But no, I didn't understand anything about hospitality. I learned a lot about hospitality being in the industry, like,
really jumping in the deep end, hey.
Mate, it's a small cafe. It's not even a big cafe. We don't have a kitchen. And for me that I learned, it just, people make a difference. Do you know what I mean? The amount of crews that we rotate to find where we are now, we have such a perfect team right now. The synergy, chemistry is so good. And what I learned about hospitality is you got to find reliable people. There's so many times that we had people dropping out. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sick, or I'm having anxiety. I can't come to work. And I'm like, mate, we all have anxiety. This sort of stuff I have to talk to, find the right staff. Finding the right product is, for me, it's easy because I'm a product guy. So I went to the roaster, which I think is the best, like Left Field. They genius. Cam and Tom, the team behind Left Field Roastery is amazing. And I can just tell them, hey, I want coffee that tastes like Snickers bar with a bit of chocolate, a bit of nutty flavor in it. Okay, let me curate that. So they blend the thing, and we taste 7 different types of blend, different recipe, and before we nailed the one we're serving now. So the one we're serving now uses Brazilian and Colombian beans from 4 different farms, and every farm has a different taste. It's kind of like what I mentioned to you before. It's like building perfume, how you have different nodes. You need to have 3 different nodes to strike your palate. I mean, if you have one blend, it just doesn't work because it's so flat. That's why single origin is good for purists. Like this is single origin that has a bit more complexity from Guatemala. Normally, I'm not a big fan of single origin because I feel it's too much of a one layer flavor, but people like it. Like some blends have that sort of different layers of fruitiness. Like Ethiopian blend, single origin is really good because they have like different flavors coming through, like a lot of the fruits coming through, a lot of mix of berries coming through, and it's good for like a black coffee. But not often I enjoy single origin. I like a bit more of a mixed blend. That's why a lot of cafes, good cafes, they have their own secret blend.
And that's the thing. There's so much science behind it. I feel like through trial and error, you've really landed on a winner here. Like I absolutely loved your coffee at Cab Express, and I think it's a beautiful location, and the aesthetic inside is so warm and welcoming. So, mate, congratulations on that venture. It's like I enjoy my experience so much there, and I'll be sure to visit there anytime I'm in the city. And
yeah, please bring people in.
Always bringing people in there for sure. Now, how do you find that opening the coffee shop up? How does it complement Cabinet Noir from the fashion brand perspective? And granted, they sort of share the same name, different industries. But I have so much respect for people who have the courage to start one business, let alone 2.
Yep.
So talk to me how they work in tandem. Do you find that perhaps they complement each other? And yeah.
See, the thing is like people don't understand is like for me, Cabinet Noir represents multi-layers, multi-dimension. It's a culture, right? It's not just a brand.
It's not just fabric you put on your skin and wear.
It's a culture. So what's in the culture? Music, food, lifestyle, community. Do you know what I mean? All these things, right? And for us as venturing into hospitality, it will open up another door. Eventually, I would love to have a Cabinet Noir restaurant. I would love to have a Cabinet Noir bar. I would love to have a Cabinet Noir hotel. Do you know what I mean? These are like kind of like how you see when you see a particular brand like LVMH or, do you know what I mean? It resonates.
Bulgari's a good one.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's luxury.
Yeah.
And LVMH is like, it's Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy. It's basically a fashion brand and an alcohol brand combined.
Exactly.
But when you put LVMH have this and, was behind this, then straight away, it's luxury. And that's what I want Cabinet Noir to be luxury and conceptual. Right. So that's the 2 things that I always have in my head. Even with the cafe, if you look at the fit out, it's conceptual. It's derived from the interior design that I've seen from Japan and New York. And I want to have that sort of concrete interior with the steps, because people can sit down on the steps and gives an extra layer of height and dimension in that cafe because the space itself is quite tiny. But we want to make sure the space would be elevated, can be increased by having those steps there.
And what you've done with being able to fit it out in that sense and utilizing the small space that you had into such an aesthetic masterpiece is incredible, mate. And I think it does. Now I can kind of get a more intimate understanding of what you're trying to build. It's not just necessarily a clothing brand. You're trying to build a community and a lifestyle and a brand that culture is throughout multiple different industries,
Correct.
whether it be coffee shops, whether it be clothing itself. And, in the future, I have no doubt that there's nothing you can't achieve. I mean, I'll be the first person to stay in the penthouse suite at the Cabinet Noir Hotel, mate.
100%.
That's cool. That's really cool. And back to sort of the entrepreneurial side of things, it can be really lonely at the top. How do you stay motivated and keep your creative energy alive?
I wouldn't say lonely at the top. You just got to be careful at the top. Do you know what I mean? It's like, because as you get to a certain level, there's going to be a lot of people trying to get on your side, getting you they're just trying to use you or exploit you and then trying to get in your group or whatever, right? So you got to be very protective of what you have and your value. For me, I love meeting people. Networking is my favorite thing to do. I love meeting new people. Do you know what I mean? You can send me out. I like traveling by myself. People are like, who are you going with? I'm like, I love traveling solo. Like, what do I need to travel with someone else for? I'm traveling out of Perth so I can meet new people. I don't want to bring my people to put somewhere else. You know what I mean?
I love that. Yeah, for sure.
And it's just meeting us, learning people's stories is very, it's inspiring for me. And even from especially from different industry, not just fashion. I want to learn how'd you get there? What made you get into this? Kind of like what you're doing, asking me, right? I'm like, how did you get into this? How's your creative process? What's your life story like? What's your reason behind you want to get to that stage, to that level? You know what I mean? These are the things that I keep questioning them and for me, it's the creative side is easy for me. I've always been a creative. I love art. I just want to make cool shit. When people's like, what's the aesthetic of the brand? I don't know, whatever I feel like, it's cool. Do you know what I mean? Like if I put things on, I want to make sure people compliment me or I compliment my customers who buy it. I get a lot of feedback. People come, man, every time I put your stuff on, I get compliment at the gym or every time I'm out. They like to touch my fabric. That's exactly how I want.
That must get you, that must like bring you so much pride too. Like I
100%.
honestly, I'm not just saying this. Like I hand on heart, this honestly feels incredibly on. Like
so
I
good.
absolutely love it. I feel incredible, and the quality. I mean, yeah, it's a credit to all your hard work and your team. And I mean, not only does it look good, but it must feel really special when you've got people and customers and friends that wear your clothing brand and get complimented by other people. Like that just must hit so.
I get a lot of stories like, man, I remember when I put my shirt on and they tell me the story. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, this happened. I remember when I did this, like, I just picked up this girl's number because he thought I was cute with looking with his shirt on. Like stuff like that. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes me feel good. It makes me drive me, all right, what other cool stuff can I make?
Yeah.
And for me, just the greatest feel, you know, like when I get, for example, that knit there, the previous rendition we had French Montana, I love like discovering our brand because of that knit. You know, he was wearing it in Miami. He gets good response. He's like, you know, he was like, basically, I want my kids to wear it too. He's stylish and everything. So it's just such good feedback when I get like guys like him.
Did he message you?
Yeah. He's like, DM me with his stylist. Like he was trying to FaceTime me, but I was like in the meetings. I'm like, and then the stylist like, me and French trying to FaceTime me. Like, oh, fuck. Like, you know, but
French Montana's trying to hit you up while you're in a meeting.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, I was actually on a date.
He's on a date.
I'm like, sorry, because I'm in a meeting.
Yeah, I love that.
But you know, it's stuff like that. You know, what I mean, I get people stopping me on the streets of Paris. I'm like, oh, I'm the stylist of Zion Williamson, NBA player. You know, like we want to wear your stuff. You know, it's a good feeling when we're in that sort of demand.
For sure.
Like we don't really give out a lot of freebies. We only give it to like someone who actually love the brand, who actually want to wear and represent it. We had MPH from UK who wears our brand nonstop. He just recently posted a clip wearing the older version of that knit again. And he went viral and everyone's sending me the video. Man, MPH was rocking this. And the clip got like millions of views. I'm like, oh, sick. Awesome.
That's so special though. When people genuinely want to wear your brand not for like any monetary gain, they wear it because it makes them feel good.
Yeah, 100%.
It sells differently, doesn't it? Like
100%,
it just sells.
So many times they get given free shit, right?
Yeah.
And they don't wear it. They just give it away to their entourage.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? When people like a lot of these celebrities have this entourage, you know, and they want freebies and they say, oh, this is for that artist, but it's not for the artist, it's for the entourage. So like a lot of like stores always give out like thousands of dollars of worth product. We never do that. We hate doing that. Unless they actually, we generally believe they're going to wear it. Oh, we want to wear it for the show. Can we like represent your brand? Awesome. And then that's
different.
Good.
Hey?
That's different.
Yeah.
Rather than like, oh, we want $10,000 worth of products. When they say that, I'm like, no, sorry, we don't do that.
How do you combat that when your brand is starting to get traction with the likes of French Montana wearing it and other celebrities? How do you kind of vet and go, these guys want it for the right reasons and these people are just trying to leech out and get free clothing for their entourage, like you said? Do you have a pretty good sense now that you've been in the industry for quite a while and you've got your brand?
Oh, mate, you can
sense it, can't you? Like you just
We had like when we had John Jones over at during UFC.
Yep.
He came to the shop and he was just blown out by one of our t-shirts. Man, can I wear this for a thing? Let me pay. He wanted to pay. And you go, champ, you heavyweight champion of the world. This is for you for free. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he was wearing it for the whole tour. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of people like, and then it was all right, you want that stuff, you know?
And that's marketing at its best.
That's marketing, but
he genuinely
wanted to wear it. I'm like, man, I love this shit. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Same with the French. You know, like we can get a lot of different artists wearing it, you know? Like we had Diplo come through and he's like loving our shops and stuff like that. That's the kind of energy that we want. And the artists that we just want to, there's artists who come in and drop money, which don't get me wrong, that's awesome.
Of course.
Because they'll like, some artists spend money. We want this for our show, that are cool. But if they just want to buy stuff, we'll let them buy stuff. You know what I mean? And it's good.
Absolutely. And you've got a business to run, and if they're paying for it too, that speaks volumes of how much they love it. So it's kind of that fine line between giving away stuff for free, knowing that they're going to wear it and they're going to rep your company and your brand. But then also you've got to protect your culture at all costs. And if you're giving things away for free all the time, what is that representing? Like it's not representing what you stand for.
At the old shop in the Shafter Lane, we had a sale and there was a queue at the front. And then we just saw three guys just, you know, stuck out. I'm like, these guys don't look like they're from Perth. They're dressed nicely. And they were lining up. And they walked in. I'm like, mate, we just saw the line. They have an American accent. We saw the line. We just thought what's going on. We just want to check out the store. Fuck, you guys got good stuff. And then they try things on and they're like, so I go, And I was like, where are you guys from? I'm from Vegas. They're like, what are you doing in Perth? Oh, we're doing a show. Must be an artist. Where are you performing? I didn't want to say which band are you from or whatever.
Smart.
Yeah, I was like, where are we performing? Perth Arena. It was called Perth Arena back then before they changed to RAC Arena.
Of course.
And I just jumped behind on my laptop, put it on Google, Perth Arena performing tonight. Imagine Dragons, right?
No.
They were there, and I was like, and I go, oh shit. And I was like showing the stuff, fuck, Imagine Dragons here. And they're just trying stuff and like, yeah, we want some cool shit for tonight. I'm like, oh, let me put out some racks. Back then I had all these racks at the back that are like for expensive stuff.
I remember.
I bring out and you go, all right, boom. And you go, yep, this one. Mate, they just spent like maybe 10, 20 grand that day, right? And then you go, you guys cool? You want to come to our show? I'm like, hell yeah. They gave us VIP tickets stage side and it was cool. Like, they're generally nice people and they spend Bitcoin. They just want to hang out with us, That's the kind of experience that we love seeing.
That's
and they're just so down to earth. It's just like they're literally lining up for like an hour before they get into the store because the store was so small. We had to kind
of course,
make sure,
yeah, of course.
We can't let everyone in at the same time.
And Shafto Lane is quite a choke point in itself, right?
Point. Yeah.
I love a couple of the restaurants along that street. It's incredible.
Back then it was different.
And Imagine Dragons, to be humble enough to go, like, they're selling out an arena show, yet wait in line for an hour, just speaks volumes of their own character. 100%. And to spend money and not expect things for free, I mean, just sounds like a very well-grounded, band that just generally wanted to make good on their promises. So what an experience.
But you see that all the time.
How cool is that?
Like, we see some arrogant rappers sometimes, they're like, yo, we got to shop, but you got to close the door. We want private experience. I'm like, all right, cool. We're just kind of like, whatever. They just spend money and they drop coin, but they're kind of like a bit more in and out.
I have heard Imagine Dragons are a massive fan of the podcast. So, we'll definitely give them a shout out. We'll give them a shout out.
Bring them down. Bring them down.
But no, that's really cool to hear that there's genuine artists out there that just want to see your brand grow and they love this. They love the brand and the culture that you've built. And it's a real credit to all the hard work you've put in and the team. And mate, I just love hearing those stories. They're the stories that just probably inspire you to keep going. Hey,
100%.
And motivate you
and I just love like just people like just wearing our stuff. Every time I get a sale, I'm like, oh, it makes me feel good. I'm all right. One person's wearing this.
And I also want to talk to you about, and I had a similar experience the other day. I was out and about, and I remember I was waiting in line for. I was actually at Woolies, right? And like there's sometimes when the self checkout line's really big, and you've got to wait for the self checkout line. And a guy had his phone out, and I saw him listening to the podcast.
Yeah,
and I was just like, awesome. How cool is that? Like I saw over his shoulder that he was listening to the podcast, and I was like, listening to something that I've created from the very beginning, and seeing people like real life situations where they're enjoying that content. What's it like when you're walking around the city? Has there ever been some experiences that really resonate and stuck in your mind where you've been maybe even overseas and seen someone wearing your brand? What does that do to you?
I guess all the time when people like in Paris, they send me stuff. People in like, so and so, like people in London, they send me like a photo of the Prince of Saudi wearing my shit. Like he was got, what? The Prince of Saudi is wearing Cabinet Noir?
Wow.
Just stuff like that makes me happy. You know what I mean? Oh, so-and-so is wearing this. Or I just saw this in the airport. Or I get it all the time. And that makes me feel good. And we're not even big. Like, we're in the scale of things, we're there out there. But like, we're not even doing the same level as, brands like Represent, like
Supreme.
For us is that's what I work hard towards. All right. How do I get more people enjoying the brand? Same time without saturating it, without diluting the brand. I don't want it everywhere. Because the worst thing is when I go out, I see someone wearing the same shirt. I'm like, ugh. I know it's my own brand, but I'm like, oh, goddamn, I can't wear this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, and that's the same feeling as I want to make sure even with that knit, we kept it like super limited. Once it's gone and people, hey, man, you going to remake it? Oh, no, we don't remake stuff. Sorry. Like, we're going to make a new different knits. Like the previous one we ran out. And so they were asking for us, we did this new logo. This is a new design. So that's the kind of thing that we want to do. We constantly evolving. And same time, like I want people to be able to remember, oh, that's a 2025 release. So when they have it, they remember what year. I had this customer came in this morning at the shop. They're like, oh, I've got that old tee, with the writing in the back, it's two-piece thing. Oh, that was a 2018 release, like we remember it. So it becomes collectible.
Yeah, exactly.
It becomes a memory. For me, it's like clothing, it's like memory, right? So that's like when you wear it, I have good memory with this. And, there's a saying in our business, like, hey, don't try to sell products, try to sell emotion. Once you emotionally attach to that product, the money doesn't mean anything. They'll spend $100, $200 on that, you know what I mean? Like, because they feel good and then when I come back, I want to relive that memory. I want to recreate that memory because I was wearing Cabinet. I get a good response. People had good memories. Then I want to buy it again.
Build a good garden. Build a good garden and the butterflies will come.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what you've been able to do.
Yeah.
And
lots of flowers.
Lots of flowers. Now, look, for anyone that's listening who have dreams of starting their own brand, what's one piece of advice that you could give them today?
Like, you know what annoys me when I get kids coming up? Hey, I've got my own brand. I want to start my own brand. And what do you think? And they haven't even started it. They just have sketches or think, well, have you made it? No, but what do you think? They just want my approval before they go ahead with it. Like what I want them to do is just go ahead, produce your stuff. If you believe in your brand, believe in your product, make it. And if your friends want to wear it, that's a good sign. If your friends don't want to wear it, if your family doesn't want to wear it, there's something wrong with your design. Go back to the drawing board, because your friends and family will always support you first, right? If they don't want to support you or the brand, like something wrong there. But there's also friends and family would jump back into it because now your brand is cool. Then there's kind of people, you jump on the bandwagon. So like, do your homework, research your thing. It's so easy now to start a brand. You can just Google, you can in ChatGPT, hey, how do I start a brand? Back then when I started, I literally have to ask me, hey, would you get manufacturing? They wouldn't even tell me, right? No. Even though, because there was like, you can Google all day long and they won't come up with anything. You have to know where the manufacturers are. You have to actually call them. You have to actually go there to the factories to get production going. But now you can like Google a clothing manufacturer and it'd be like thousands of them come up. So don't be lazy. Just do it. Just make your products, start selling it. Once you've done your homework, you've done everything you could, and you're struggling to get, then you can ask me like, hey, I'm stuck here. What else can I do? And I can help you out with that. Do you know what I mean? But most people haven't even done their homework. They're just too scared to take that first step. They haven't even done that first step. My advice is to take that first step. Leap of faith is the most important thing. Do you know what I mean? Like burn your bridge behind you so don't go back. Do you know, most people start a brand because they got a full-time job here. All right, you're treating that brand as a casual thing, then you're only going to casual return back. If you've burn the bridge behind you, so you only have moving forward, and this is like your do all or die, and you're gonna get there.
I love that. No plan B. No plan B. No plan B.
The best, But you know what? I was still young. I'm still young. If it doesn't work, I can go somewhere else, mate. We're in Perth. We can go to the mines if you need money. You know what I mean? There's so many opportunities here.
And that's the thing, right? Like, the first, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And I feel like that's with all the guests that I've had on that have come on to so much success, whether it be clothing brands, whether it be, videographers for billionaires, whether it be multi-award-winning artists, actors, you have your AFL stars. It doesn't matter. I feel like when the constant pin of success has always been down to believing themselves, betting on themselves, and also taking that first leap of faith. And having no plan B forces you to put absolutely every fiber of your being into that chosen venture. And it's generally the recipe to success.
That's it, right? Like everyone has their own way. Don't follow one blueprint. Do you know what I mean? So, man, create your own blueprint. Like some people got big from e-commerce, starting brand, just killing on e-commerce. And do you know what I mean? And some people go through wholesalers. They got big from having stockists around the world. There's so many different ways of getting there. You just got to find your way, and you got to find your demographics. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, supply and demand. If your brand's not in demand, there's something wrong with the supply.
Absolutely. And also as well, I want to touch on, like, there's a real cultural impact to what you've created. How important is it to building that community in your vision?
The community is first, and you can design all the clothes you want, but if no one wants to support it, you do. Do you know what I mean? Like there's so many brands out there with such a good community, and they're still succeeding. And that's why, like, I think getting back onto the ground level is really important for me. Like, I still spend day to day at the shop, at the cafe, just meeting people. I love just having that energy like this, instead of just like behind the scene. Like, I don't want to be the guy behind the scene. I want to be the guy in the scene, with everybody. And that's
main character energy, hey?
Yeah, 100%. And I think community is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, they're the ones going to drive your brand. They're going to be the ones like live and die with you. Like when they're going to wear your brand through these years, right? They're going to be supporting you. If you lose that sense of community, no one wants to be part of it.
And also, like, the face-to-face interaction, like, you're the face of the brand. If you can get yourself out there more and people can discover what you're like and the culture that you've built, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to be relatable.
Yeah, even like,
I want to buy your, man, I want to go back to Karen Up right now and buy your store out, because I just know how good of a person you are, but also the amount of effort and the culture that you've built behind the brand. Of course I want to wear it.
Yeah, but it's also like, a lot of people idolize like the brand, and, when they see me, they're, oh my God, especially kids, oh my God, you're from Cabinet Noir. If I'm being a rude dick, like, they're just going to have a bit of taste in the brand. I don't want to wear that. That guy's a dick. But what? Just give them 5 minutes of your time. They'll love your brand. They'll look up to you. Give them like a little bit of something, like give them free information, free advice, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, because, man, like growing up when I was a B-boy, I remember like, I want to be the top dancers in the world. You know what I mean? Like, these guys I look up to, they're my heroes. And I got to meet them and I'm like, fuck, they're such an asshole. And I just kind of like, ugh, it just deters me from like trying to be like that person anymore. Do you know what I mean? It just kills your dream a little bit.
Absolutely.
Broken heart, man.
Absolutely. Now, we're coming up to one of our favorite segments on the show. It's sponsored by Legit Subs, our good
Hell
friends.
yeah.
Now, use the code The Rabbit Hole for 20% off all orders. Now, the Would You Rather segment is a quick fire question. You get 2 options, and I'm going to set you up for 10. We got 10 questions set up for you, okay? All I want is I'll give you 2 options for each question, and you pick one. Back again, if you want, get on the best supplements, health and wellness products in the country, 20% off all orders with the code The Rabbit Hole. Now, what we're going to do today, mate, is pick what flavor you want for the pre-workout. We're going to have juicy strawberry or orange mango. Orange mango is my favorite, and then we can get started.
Let's go into orange mango.
Orange mango, brother. Yeah, that's your glass.
Hopefully my face go tingly because I'm working out after this.
You're gonna have the
I
best.
need that juice.
You're gonna have the best pump of your life. It's gonna be PR City. Going to be PR City. Super clean, no real come down whatsoever, and unbelievably tasty.
Thank you. All right.
Best segment, one of the best segments on the body. Cheers, brother. Okay, you ready for question 1?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Tastes good.
Ed, time for the quick round. I'm going to throw you some would you rather questions. Just answer with your gut instinct, okay?
Okay, let's go.
Would you rather always dress in all black fits or only wear bright neon for a year?
All black. That's an obvious one.
Would you rather launch a new fashion line or a brand new coffee brand tomorrow?
Well, they're both of my babies. But you know what? I started with fashion, so I'm going to go with fashion.
Would you rather design clothes for a movie or for a world tour concert?
I would design clothes for a movie. I think there's so much more. There's less guideline, I feel like. Because a world tour, like, you're bound by what the artist wants to wear, right? But a movie, I can be like, oh, I love costume design.
Boom. There you go. I love that. And also movie opens up a lot of different marketing opportunities as well.
100%.
So would you rather have unlimited coffee for life or unlimited rare sneakers for life?
Mate, you know what? I used to have 1,000 pairs of sneakers. I got rid of all of them because the resale market, it just kind of ruined it for me. Because back then we look up to Jordan, and having Jordans made me feel special. Gone are those days anymore. So I'm going to have free coffee.
Love that. Would you rather collaborate with a global brand like Nike or an underground cult label?
I've done the cult label thing, so I'll probably go with a global brand. I want to see how it works with the big giant. Working with Nike, I think it'll be interesting the way how they operate. I know like a lot of my friends have done that before, and they say a lot of negative things, but I want to experience that for myself.
Absolutely. And it opens up,
it'll be interesting
marketing budget too.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Kid Super's done with Puma.
Yep.
It's like very interesting to see behind the scenes there. Would you rather open another Cabinet Noir overseas or another one right here in Australia?
I want to do, so my dream to have Cabinet Noir in Paris, Tokyo, and probably have another one over Reece, either Sydney or Melbourne. You have to decide. Awesome. There's always been like, I've always want to have 5 stores, Cabinet Noir. Maybe in Dubai or Saudi.
Yeah, a Saudi or a Dubai one would be cool for them.
We have a good market there.
Awesome
Or
market.
one in US. Yeah, New York. Did I say New York?
You did.
New York, definitely.
New York, Paris.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, like the meccas of fashion,
Yes,
right?
100%.
That makes a lot of sense. Would you rather be recognized for your creativity or your business acumen?
Creativity for sure.
Would you rather never have to market your brand again or never have to manage logistics?
Oh, I hate logistics. So probably, never market your brand again or never
Never have to deal with the logistics.
I guess never have to deal with the logistics.
Completely.
This is good. This drink's good. Juice going.
Yeah, I can see it. You're ready
I
to
can
smash
see it with like tequila shots in there.
Oh, I think you've just come up with the next,
Yeah.
the next winner. That could be the next. Absolutely. Would you rather host a fashion show runway in Paris or Tokyo?
Paris. Paris is a must for any fashion. If you've done a Paris fashion show or fashion runway, you kind of made a statement. It's a big move. Especially being a fashion calendar, it is one of the hardest things to do because you have to be selected to be on a fashion calendar. That's been our dream. One day have Cabinet Noir on Paris fashion runway, run by all Aussies. I want Aussie musicians to be part of it. All the creatives be part of this.
I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll be
100%.
there. I'll be
We'll
there.
make it happen.
Now, last but not least, would you rather inspire 10 million people or deeply mentor 10 future entrepreneurs?
I'll do 10 million. Yeah.
It's a big, big following.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, Ed, you've been lucky enough to meet so many incredible people, not just in your journey in fashion and coffee. Who is the most impressive person you've met And why? Tell me all about it.
I met a lot of impressive people. Impressive in a sense of their life or what they achieve.
Could be both, either or.
Mm,
Who is the most impressive person you've met?
I met interesting people. They kind of like, one person that I think I wish I met in real life is this guy called Jim Rohn. I never met him before, but I think he's the most impressive. In what I think he's probably the most impressive person I've ever seen, because I used to grow up, I watch his YouTube videos all the time. And that was one person that I wish I met in real life. He passed away. So Jim Rohn is Tony Robbins' mentor. And I'm a big fan of Napoleon Hill book, Think and Grow Rich. Right. So he came from the line of school of Jim Rohn's mentor is Earl Shoaff. Earl Shoaff's mentor is Earl Nightingale, and Earl Nightingale's mentor is Napoleon Hill. So he came from that line. But it's
from that bloodline, yeah.
He's come from that teachings, man. And like, I haven't met anyone that kind of like so articulate with wordings. And when I'm down and sad, I just listen to his 4-hour lecture on YouTube. Go to YouTube, like look at Jim Rohn, how to have the best year of your life. That kind of like puts me in perspective of life. He always said life is like season. You have your summer, your spring, your autumn. So you got to be ready for your winters, because people can freeze to death in winter, or they can enjoy it in the snow, and they can go skiing, snowboarding if they're prepared. So you got to prepare for the worst in life. And that's what I learned from, just Jim Rohn's teaching. Another one of my favorite quote, he said, like, don't major on minor things. Meaning don't major on stupid shit that's not getting you anywhere. Do you know what I mean? And another one is what I love hearing is like, when you're at the beach, be at the beach. When you're at work, be at work. Don't be at work and be at the beach. Do you know what I mean? Don't be at the beach and be at work.
I love that.
So I love that, man. As an entrepreneur, it's like my biggest weakness, like trying to take time off. I can't go holiday for longer than 2 weeks before getting so anxious and having anxiety. So that was the one person I would say, like, my parents, like my mom has always been the most inspiring. She raised us as kids by herself, and she had to navigate having no education. It's the most inspiring for me. Like my biggest goal is to make sure I can retire. Well, she's retired already, but I can like spoil her a little bit more. You know what I mean? Because she taught me a lot how to and she's very giving. And there's a problem with us. Our family is always giving to when you're surrounded by people who just want to take. Yeah. So this is the lesson for me is like, all right, don't, just be careful who you surround yourself with, because they're the people who can kill you. And that's just the same thing what Jim Rohn said, be careful of what you drink. Do you know what I mean? Because your closest friend can give you poison without you knowing. And that's another good lesson there. Do you know what I mean? So you just got to be really careful what you pour your drinks with. Is it poison or it could be good stuff? Right? So, I have yet to someone who goes kind of like blow my mind. That's why I love meeting people. I've met so many incredible people, but I have yet to meet that one person that goes, fuck me, you just, that's the sort of person I want to go, all right, when I meet that person, bro, I'll drop everything, mentor me. I want to learn everything.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's the thing of the last 10 years I've been doing through this business. It's my journey of learning, either in a mindset side of thing, how to be better as a person, how to deal with business. Because people don't understand how hard it is to run a business. There's so many moving parts. You only see the tip of the iceberg. They don't see the sinking part of the iceberg, right? Like 98% of that top of the iceberg, 98% is underwater.
Absolutely.
People don't see that. You just be like, oh my God, you must be doing well. I'm like, dude, I'm stressed out all the time, but I love it. It's part of me, running a business. If I'm not stressed out, you're not gonna get better. Stress creates like diamonds, right? So
for sure.
So without stress, it's like, man, you're not gonna learn anything. That's why people living in this kind of mediocre lifestyle, they just sit where they're just comfortable. Well, I don't like being in that comfortable zone. I like a little bit more stress and a bit more pressure, because then you have to think quick. How do I pivot? How do I there's problems here. How do I solve that problems? Oh shit, there's a cash flow issue. How do I make money so I can fix that cash flow issue? Oh shit, there's this issue, production issue. There's so many issues that you got to deal with, marketing issue.
I truly believe as well, a person's ability and stress tolerance level has an absolute complete indicator of their future success. The more stress you can deal with, the higher your capability for future and present success. If you can deal with an enormous amount of stress and pressure, and like we spoke about, you're gonna turn into a diamond, and
Can
your
you
business is
imagine
gonna
being Elon Musk, right? How much pressure under, especially now with the whole thing, and bro, he must be under a lot of pressure. That's why he's worth $250 billion, because he can handle it. He knows how to deal with it. If you don't know how to take pressure off your team, because at the end of the day, you want your workers to believe in you're a leader. You want to be able to take all the pressure and then not let your team focus on what they're good at.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? That's how I think that's how you run a proper business.
Couldn't agree more, brother. And like I said, your stress tolerance and the level of stress that you can handle is a direct indicator of the success that you can achieve. And what you've been able to do so far in your journey in fashion and then opening up the coffee store is something that I just admire and I think is a massive credit to yourself and your team. And what you're building and continue to build is really, really inspiring. So yeah, mate.
Thanks, bro. I see what you're doing here as well. And I can see like a lot of potential with this rabbit hole project. I love the name, Rabbit Hole.
Thank you very much, brother.
You know, we're all stuck in that rabbit hole. Whether you turn up in Alice in Wonderland, like in the Wonderland, or not. Do you know what I mean? There's something like, you know, I think this podcast has a lot of legs, and I'm keen to come back again and share more stories.
Oh, mate, it's awesome. Now, Ed, thank you so much for sharing your journey, your mindset, and your incredible story with us. Guys, if you haven't already checked out Cabinet Noir and the new Cabinet Noir Cab Express Cafe, it's more than just fashion and coffee. It's an experience, and I truly believe that. Where can people and the many listeners of this podcast and the audience, where can they find you, your personal brand, Cabinet Noir? Let's plug you to the moon. Over to you, brother.
Well, you can find us. We just relocated to Cabinet Shopping Centre, which is now the number 2 and number 3 busiest shopping centres in Australia. So we used to be kind of against it all being in a shopping centre, but now the people's shopping habit now is shopping more at shopping centre. And then Cabinet been real supportive of what we're doing. The other end, it gave us a lot of legs, a lot of freedom being in the shopping centre. So you can find us in level 1. We're actually in a food court, a very unique spot we're in. We got the most beautiful view in Cabinet Shop. We got the view looking over the whole suburb. So you can check us out there, or the cabinetnoir.com.au is our website. And then for Cabinet Noir Express is located in the heart of CBD. We're near Rain Square. So yeah, definitely come through. We're at 321 Murray Street next to Hugo Boss, and you're going to see a hole in the wall. Rabbit hole in the wall. Do you know what I mean? Come have coffee. Make sure you try our new single origin. You know, we love people's feedback, and you know, we get a lot of good feedback with our coffee. And if you want to see different things, just give us feedback. And same with the store. I want you to be able to experience it. Talk to us. Meet me one-on-one. You can add me on Instagram, Edward_Maradona. I'm very quick with my Instagram responses, more quick than anything. I'll respond within 0.2 seconds on Instagram, but maybe 5-7 business days on anything else. So find me on Instagram instead. But yeah, I'm open if you have any questions, stuff like that, man. I'm here to support, you know. I want everyone to win.
Absolutely. And on that note, mate, like I said, the Murray Street Cafe, the Cab Express, is not only amazing for its coffee, but I recently had the breakfast wrap there and it was absolutely delicious. And everything you're building, mate, is awesome. I know it's a lot of hard work and, you know, it's nonstop, a lot of moving parts. However, what you've been able to achieve in the last decade is an absolute, you know, astonishing amount, and it's such an inspiration to myself and many others. And I think there's so many important points from this podcast that people can take and move forward and further themselves and improve all aspects of their lives. So don't forget, guys. Ed, thank you so much for your time, brother. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe on Spotify and follow the podcast for all updates. Like I said, brother, can't wait to see your progress in the not too distant future as well. And I'll be repping the brand left, right and center.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for coming on, my man.
Thank you.